Mixing audio is most editors' biggest struggle. You send over one preview and the music is and then you send over another preview and they ask. See, I've tried and tested over many methods, watched many video tutorials on YouTube, but no matter what I tried, the clients were never satisfied. I would try it over and over again, hours and hours going by trying to match every piece of audio perfectly. You send over that final Is that AI? No way this actually will fix anything, right? Now this really pissed me off. No way in hell was I gonna get replaced with some AI tool. So I tested things out, then got feedback, then tested more things out, got even more feedback, until finally I crafted and shaped the perfect method to mix an audio inside Premiere Pro. It is so good that ever since I've been using it, complaints about any balanced audio issues is rare. And the best part about it is that you can literally copy exactly what I do and paste it onto any one of your projects. It's easy, saves you hours and hours of your time, as you'll at most cases will never need to manually adjust audio, as the method literally does it all for you. But before we begin, why listen to me? I've worked on projects with extremely high standards for editing, which means everything has to be spotless. And of course, this includes audio. Now in terms of audio level, dialogue should be hitting that -6 dB spot, which I'll show you how to perfectly do that later in the video. And for music, it really does depend on the track, but usually between -12 and 15 is the sweet spot. As long as your dialogue is hitting that -6 dB, having the music at the -12 and 15 range usually works very well together. Now in some cases, for music tracks that have a lot of energy to them, they can be quite loud in that range, so turning them down to -18 is also an option. Now for sound effects, honestly, I don't really have a number for you. It can range from literally like -3, -6 to -20. It honestly depends on the sound effect and what you're using it for. But a general rule for sound effects such as whooshes, hits, impacts, don't make them too loud, otherwise they become overwhelming. You don't want the viewers to notice it, instead you want them to feel it. However, if you are using cartoony kind of sound effects or ambience, they all play a different part, and how you use them will depend on where they should be. So it will come from experience. So for sound effects, you're gonna have to really trust your ears. So going back to my project, I'm now gonna show you what this sounds like when nothing is mixed. So yeah, we're gonna be using this. So inside the new, what is it? Not great. Not great at all. However, thankfully, using my method, we can literally get this mixed in under 30 seconds. So first of all, I'm going to highlight all the dialogue. Then you're going to want this tab called Essential Sounds. This is part of Premiere Pro. You can go into the Windows tab and then find it right here. Click Essential Sounds. I use this all the time for every single one of my projects. So after selecting your dialogue, come over here and then click dialogue. What this will do now is auto selected clips has now been tagged into the system as dialogue. So now moving forward, you should be able to see this. All you have to do is click the loudness and then click this button right here. This is the spice right here, okay? This is the source. Click auto match, and as you can see, if we zoom in, I'll reset it and then click auto match. But what this does, it kind of compresses it a little bit. The compression isn't that strong, it's not fully mixed yet. It kind of brought all the dialogue up. So if there's any quiet parts in the dialogue, what it's now done is brought it up, which is perfect. So then the next step is to go to your audio track mixer. Now usually I have this all on my second monitor, but that's why it's all squished in here. Now if you can't find this, you want to go to Windows and then select audio track mixer, and you should be able to see this. Now from here, at the very top left, there's this little button right here that we want to press, and then you should be able to see this. Now this dialogue is assigned to audio track 1, so audio track 1 is the first column here. Now inside here, we're only going to apply 2 effects. Now it's important, especially for YouTube videos, that you don't apply too many effects, because you don't want the dialogue to sound unnatural. Otherwise it ruins the authenticity of the video. So instead, we're just going to be using plugins that amplify and compress the audio so it stays between that -6 decibels range. So first thing you want to do is click the arrow, go to amplitude and compression, and then find a single band compressor. Double click on here and this should pop up. And then you can just use a preset called vocal booster. Simple, easy. Now we're going to go back again and add another one called hard limiter. For the hard limiter, we're going to go in here and limit to -6 dB. Now what's happened here is we boosted the vocals and we've compressed it so it doesn't go over -6 dB, but all the quiet parts are now going to be hitting that -6 dB, kind of meaning we squish the audio. So now if I play the dialogue using this as an example, so inside a new composition, it perfectly sits at -6 dB without it sounding distorted or unnatural, meaning we've kept the authenticity and it's at its perfect volume and it's perfectly compressed. It's just, yeah. So in terms of music, let's add in a music track in here so I can give an example. Okay, let's put this track in. So after importing the music, I select it, then go to Essential Sounds, and then click on Music, then go to the loudness, and then once again, my favorite tool in Premiere Pro, Auto Match. So click on this, and as you can see, the music dropped down in volume. So if I play this out, it should be hitting around the -18 decibels. So yeah, it's between the -18 and -21 decibels. And then after auto matching, you want to come up to clip volume and I go 2 dB. Now of course, depending on the music track, it might be lower, it might be higher. Usually 3 dB is the furthest I go. Now usually 2 decibels to 1 decibels is the most common, but for some tracks that are way too loud, I might bring it down to 0, even -1. So if we play towards the start of the song where things are a lot more kind of relaxed and not as energetic, it hits between -15 and -21, but then as soon as we go to kind of like the hook or the chorus, it's between 12 and -15 decibels, which is kind of the range we're looking for. We want the whole track to be playing between the -12 and -18 decibels. But also, don't forget to use common sense. If the track does sound way too loud, then feel free to turn it down. Now, in terms of sound effects, I don't really look at what decibel I put it in. I completely just rely on my hearing. So as you can see, I've added this swoosh animations inside of After Effects. So yeah, we're going to be using this. Obviously, it's way too loud. Let me turn it up. And animations inside of After Effects. So yeah, we're gonna be, yeah, it's way too loud. Also, a little trick you can do is turn up the volume on your PC, on your headphones, or whatever audio interface you're using. It just helps out bring all of the sounds out, so it's easier to mix. So yeah, I'm gonna turn this down by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inside of After Effects. So yeah, we're gonna be still way too loud. I'm gonna do 5 more. After Effects. So yeah, we're gonna be still a little bit too noticeable. Turn it down by 3. Side of After Effects. So yeah, we're gonna be, there you go. I think around there is just fine. As you can see, we ended up with -13 decibels. Now I do have one final step, and this is optional. You don't have to do it. If it doesn't sound right in your project, then don't use it. But if we go back to the audio track mixer and we go all the way to the right, you have more slots, and this is for the master. This basically means the entire project's audio, so any effect that you put in here will have an effect on everything in your project. So make sure that if you are gonna add anything or try out anything, be very careful with putting anything that's too impactful or too obvious, because it might make everything sound a little bit strange. So on the very first slot, we're just gonna go to here and then add in multi-band compressor. Double click here, go to presets, and I like to use this one, the classical master. So here's what it sounds without it, bottom half of the screen. Now this is what it sounds with it. This is all good to go, so we can go back into our main composition. We can disable the floor texture, add in an adjustment. It kind of just brightens things up. And once again, my clients have never complained ever since I've been using it, so it's all good.